Hello everyone and welcome back to Games with Dialogue. I'm Dialogue and I'm playing more Torchlight II. Last time I showed off a little bit of an early level, beginner level, Embermage. So this time I'm going to show off the other three character classes. The Outlander, the Berserker, and the Engineer. I think it's a good point to start with the Outlander, because she is the other predominantly ranged character class. The Berserker and the Engineer are mostly focused on melee. There is some overlap, but nothing significant, like one or two abilities at most. So first things first, my Outlander is equipped with dual pistols. You can give her pretty much whatever you want, but all of her, the significant amount of her skills rely on long-range weaponry. She even has passives for it. Shotguns, akimbo, that's dual pistols. And let's see what else down here. Dodge, share the wealth, poison burst, and master the elements, and then this one, which I really like. When you kill things, they have a chance to spawn a shadow bat. The shadow tree here is pretty nice. Most of it is spawn shadow creatures to aid you. She has a very good minion-focused build, actually. I'm quite surprised. I am not really going that route. Not because I don't want to, but because it's... well, yeah. It's mostly because I don't want to. And my arrogance got me killed. You know what? I'm just going to resurrect here. The entrance. I think that's the first time you guys have seen the death, and I should have covered that more closely. Well, you get two options. You can go back to town and lose nothing, or you can resurrect at the beginning or the entrance of a dungeon and lose a percentage of the gold you are currently carrying. Whoa, okay, well, that's, I think I want my stronger weapon for this. Good. I'll cover the skills in just a sec, just let me survive. Alright. Alright, so the first thing you'll notice, maybe the first thing you'll notice, is on my right-hand button, I have the glaive. It'll bounce up to 2 times, I think. Hold on a second, he's killing my poor birdie. Alright, let's open the skill tree instead of just telling you what it does. Glaive throw. Oh. We've got an ice guy. Let's retreat a little more. I've got a glaive. Hurl a throw and glaive, slicing through your target, rebounding once to strike additional foes. But as you put more points into it and the tiers go up, it'll rebound more times. The damage stays pretty consistent. You can see 99 to 123 poison damage. The next rank only goes up by like 5 poison damage, so that doesn't help. 80% interrupt chance, which is good. That's why I keep this thing around and put a second point into it, actually. I'd put more points into it if I had the ability to. That 80% interrupt is really nice for boss monsters. Enemies that cast spells and whatnot. Tangling shot. I fire a cursed projectile that binds and immobilizes your target. Since you're predominantly a ranged character, you want to keep people at range. And this is a good way to do it. I got my poison burst. You coat your weapons in a venomous agent. If an enemy is killed, there is a chance it will explode in a 6-meter cloud of poison. Blade Pact. You invoke an ancient curse that slows your foes and undermines their defenses. You can see at rank 2 it's negative 10% to physical armor. I thought that was a good round number to stop at for the time being. As I put more points into it, the pact lasts longer, and I'll do that eventually. Once I have all of the passives and all the skills I want, I'll start buffing it. That's generally my approach to the game. In general, with all the classes, is buy the skills you want with your points first, and then start buffing the ones you get the most use out of. As you can see here, long-range mastery, I kind of broke that rule. I keep pumping points into it to increase the distance I can be from an enemy before I start shooting them. Obviously, at some point, there will be diminishing gains from that when they're at one end of the screen and I'm at the other. I think that's the maximum that I would put points into it. The furthest I would go. My rapid fire is my base attack here. I keep it around, even though it only does 27% of weapon damage. When I'm using... Let me open it up real quick. When I'm using the 2-pistol attack or build, I'm getting very little DPS out of that rapid fire attack. Versus something like a crossbow where it's 105 damage. 27% of that, definitely better. But there you go. I've also got Chaos Burst. Now this one I just picked the point up because I wanted to see what it does more than I wanted to use it. I mean, it does 40% of weapon damage and it apparently bounces. It ricochets, but I haven't actually tried to use it yet. So maybe we'll do that now. Rune Vault. You vault swiftly backward, away from your target. Vault leaves behind a mystic sigil that damages and blinds foes in a 4-meter radius. Again, afflicting an enemy or enemies with a status ailment to keep me alive. That's pretty much why I picked it. Also to put some distance between me and any enemies that get a little touchy-feely. So let's see what these skills can do. Well, we already know... You've already seen Rapid Fire. Dang it! And... Okay. Alright, so now I have Rune Vault on both of them. I tried to use that to get out of the electrical field, and instead, I died. Because I wasn't paying any attention to my skills. Alright, what about this? Oh, okay, that was... Oh, the ricochet's not really doing it for me. Leave. I need to heal. And my pet took enough damage that he fled, huh? Is that what I heard? Yep, that's what I heard. Let's root somebody. Oh, that's lame. Alright, let's use the Pact. Alright, so you can see the red circles above the enemy's head there. That means that, am I almost dead? Okay. My healing potions were on cooldown. That means that the Pact is affecting him. Let's do it again. Ow! Ow! Get out of there! Dang. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Alright, if I hit him with a 5, he's not being affected by it. Why? My biggest tool in my arsenal, and he's not being affected by it. That's terrible. Oh, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die if I don't heal. Unfortunately, this rapid fire has a very limited range. Hit him with that. I'm in a bad spot here. I need to get away from this. I need a little more open room to work. Well, that was dumb, too. I rolled right into it. Ah. So, rapid fire is good if I've got a group of enemies that are being funneled through a small space, or a bunch of weak enemies. But if I'm trying to keep my distance, it only goes so far. There is a maximum range to it, which doesn't really help. In that case, I've got my Ricochet, I've got my Glaive, and I've got my regular base attack, which I've put those passive skills into to increase the range. Still, this guy is giving me more trouble than he's worth. More trouble than I actually... Yeah, he's giving me more trouble than he's worth. Well, now that I've started to kill him, I want to finish the job. Really, I want to finish the job. Yeah, it's a shame that there's no real walls for my Ricochet to bounce off of. I would love to be able to see what it does, if it's worth the point or not. Come on. Alright, there's no secret walls over here or anything. Ah! The problem with ricocheting is I don't control the angle or the position of the shots, so it's not like I can accurately aim it to hit an enemy or enemies. Kind of just does its own thing. Alright, finally, he's dead. Oh my god. More trouble than he's worth. See, this is what I'm talking about. It might be my build, it might be how difficult the game is, but that was more trouble than it was worth, really. Oh, is that? No, I think that's just... Yeah, I think that's just a flashing... Yeah, I don't think that's an actual thing. Alright, well... let's see how I built my character, then. Strength, I've put more points into it than I wanted to, but it's weapon damage. I mean, a big part of this character is weapon damage. Dexterity only really helps with crit, dodge chance, and fumble recovery. And, you know, she's got... out of all of my character classes, she's got the best crit chance. It's the highest, but it doesn't really help when her skills are using 27% of the weapon's DPS. You want to get the weapon damage up. Focus, I only really raised it for the execute chance when you're using dual wielding. And of course Vitality is armor and block chance. She doesn't really block. That's alright. But yeah, I think maybe my build is what's really hurting me here. I should go back to town and see what's in my shared stash. Let's see... Town... Yeah, right click. That's right. So, I said in the Embermage episode, part 1, that there was no way to remove Ember Shards, and that's wrong. You can come to these guys and remove the shard, or save the item and destroy the shard, leaving the hole open. Now, the skill vendor will only reset the last 3 skills you've put points into. So, you gotta be really careful. You have to be really careful that you know what you want. Or, if you're going to experiment, remember that you can only put in 3 points and get 3 points back. In this case, I'm pretty happy with these. Chaos Burst I might not be, but I haven't tested it enough yet to tell whether or not it's worth keeping. But that's the Outlander, pretty much. Let's look at what else she can do, just to be... So the first tree, Cursed Daggers. You fling 9 piercing daggers in a wide arc, which poison and cripple many foes. Plus 3 knockback. That's not bad. I mean, I have the Rune Vault. Why do I care about knockback? But if you wanted to spam something, that's the way to do it. Plus, it reduces all damage by 20%. I mean, that's really good if you hit a group of enemies who are causing you trouble. Number of daggers at the tier bonuses increases. You gain 0.5% increased move speed per enemy hit. So you have a potential to get really good move speed if all 11 hit. That doesn't seem like something I would use. But again, you can experiment if you're willing to pay the cost to respec the skill point. Vortex Hex. You summon a fetish, which draws enemies near it. Oh, it's like a taunt totem. Chance to stun them. Maximum of 3 foes may be drawn. That I would put points into. That's a good way to keep enemies locked into one spot and then hit them with your big attack abilities. 15 seconds summon duration. Foes are damaged when drawn. That's a good reason to get it to at least tier 1. Shattering Glaive. You hurl throwing glaive. Shatters on impact, damaging and slowing all foes. That one... that one I might replace... That one I might replace Tangling Shot with, actually. And that's the problem, too, with this game. Or, not with this game, but that is the problem. If a later skill does something better than an early skill, I've already moved past the ability to respec Tangling Shot. I only have 1 point into it, so it's not a huge waste. It's a level that I won't get back. But that's 1 less skill point I can put into something else. So you really have to, when you start playing a character class, you really have to look at everything they can do and decide, what do I want to put skill points into? Experimenting's fine as you're going through the game, but by the time I hit, let's see here. By the time I hit level 35, it's already too late to respec out of that Tangling Shot. Anyways, let's go back to Venomous Hail. Fire a flurry of poisonous bolts skyward. Streak to the earth in 4-meter radius around the target location. Hail hits with 8 waves per flurry. Oh. That's nice. That's actually nice. That's a good AoE. I don't really have a whole lot of AoE. Except for maybe Tangling Shot here. And Poison Burst when it goes off. Sandstorm. Hurl your glaive, generating a whirlwind that cuts through foes and saps their health. Sandstorm travels 20 meters. Generates 1.5 of your charge... Oh, right, the charge bar. 100% chance to stun. This one is one I would definitely pick. Killed foes emit clouds of plague flies. Definitely. Definitely. This is a must grab for me. Bramble Wall, you call forth a wall of thorned vines that prevent foes from approaching. This one I would also pick if your character is able to shoot through the wall without destroying it. Also, if it has an HP bar that the enemies can destroy, it grows significantly less useful as the enemies get higher in level. Burning Leap, you execute a fiery spinning leap 7 meters forward, so this is like the opposite of the vault. That's actually not something I would pick, personally. But that's because I'm building the character to stay at range. You could certainly pick... I mean, if you were going to go with full-on rapid fire because of the maximum distance, having Burning Leap to get into the fray and use something like Glaive Sweep and Rapid Fire and Sandstorm would be useful. Dodge Mastery, Acrobatics, Dodge % chance increases. Yeah, I mean, if you maxed out Dodge Mastery, jumping into melee with Burning Leap wouldn't be that big a deal. Share the Wealth, share percentage of your charge benefit with all pets and allies. That's nice. Not something I would use. Maybe a point at some point in the future, at some level in the future, giving my pet and any of my shadow creatures that shared charge benefit, but not anytime soon. Not anytime soon. You hurl 2 flaming glaives that circle outward in concentric rings. See, now this is another good one. If you were going to get into melee with people, get surrounded, let this go. Awesome. Glaive size increased, allowing it to strike more accurately. Yeah. And then, of course, the Shadow Tree. Shadow Shot, curse your ammunition, causing it to split into 3 shards, which seek additional targets. This one's probably actually better than the Ricochet, the Chaos Burst, because they seek. Ammo splits into 4 shot. You know what? 40% of weapon DPS. What is missile speed increases? Missiles have a 30% chance to poison. 2 additional missiles per burst versus ammo splitting. 76% of weapon DPS, but it doesn't look like... I think I'm actually going to get rid of the Chaos Burst and pick this up. I definitely prefer a reliable seeking ability rather than Ricochet. Bane Breath, a blast of cursed breath. Now this one I picked up while I was leveling to 15, just to see what it does. It's a conal attack in front of you. It's much too short range for my build, but it's useful when it works, creating extra shadow fiends from your slain enemies. It's just much too short range. Much too short. Repulsion Hex, you summon a floating Hex avatar which repulses enemies who draw too near. A good one. Another good one if you're trying to stay at range. 20 knockback, 10% interrupt chance, and a tier 1 has a chance to cause the enemies to flee. That's one I would definitely pick up. Stone Pact. Invoke an ancient curse that protects you and your allies from physical and elemental damage, and reflects some damage back on your attackers. That's another good one for melee, I think. For range, it's not quite as useful. I mean, it's useful, don't get me wrong. Anything that mitigates damage and reflects it back on your enemies is useful, but when you're trying to stay at range and avoid being hit in the first place, it's just, you want to put points into things that keep you at range and avoid damage in the first place. Shadow Mantle, you call forth a Shadow Hex, protecting you from ranged attackers. Now, see, this is one I would pick up as a ranged character. Shadow Mantle can reflect damage back on the attackers, has a chance to blind them. Yeah, that's one I would pick up. Shadowling Brute, you call forth a terrifying Shadowling Brute at the target location. I don't think much more has to be said about this guy. You summon a Witch Doctor Gargantuan to deal damage for you, take the brunt of attacks, and probably, more likely than not, draw the fire of your enemies. And then Death Ritual. Shadowling allies last longer, deal more damage. I mean, if you're gonna go with a Shadowling build, go for this. I'm really only going for Shadowling ammo and quite possibly the Brute, so this might not be a necessity in terms of points spent. I don't know.
Did you need something?
Yeah, we're gonna get rid of Chaos Burst. Pick up Shadow Shot and put that in there. Alright. So let's move on to the next character class. Why not? Alright, so let's move on to the next character class, Berserker. Another, well, not the other, and not another. One of the two melee classes. Berserkers are focused more on straight out damage than survivability. You could say the Engineer is more of the tank, and the Berserker is definitely on the DPS side. Let's see here. I'm kind of shorting her on Vitality in order to get more crit damage. But again, my Outlander is much further along. Not much further along, but has a bigger crit chance. For the time being, anyways. Mostly because I'm focusing on strength with her to give her more damage, because she's using the two-wield option. Let's see. And these claws... Wow. You know, I didn't even realize it. These claws are better than the Outlander's double pistol wield. That's alright. That's alright. I'm not upset about that at all. Not at all. Let's see. I've also given her a cannon. I don't know why I gave her a cannon. I just like the idea that my Berserker has a cannon for those times when slicing and dicing just doesn't cut it. Berserker class. Alright. So, let's find some enemies and show her off. First things first, though, skills, I think. What I'm using right now. Her Blood Hunger, whenever you land a critical strike with a melee weapon, you get some health back. This one I should be putting more skill points into. I don't know why I haven't done that. Raise, you perform a devastating uppercut that inflicts... Oh, right. Right. With each successful hit, you grow in power. Raise does not generate charge. This is a good single target attack, but again, it doesn't generate charge. Berserker gains charge by attacking enemies, enter a frenzy state. All direct attacks result in critical hits. You want to keep her frenzied as often as possible, really. Those crits are amazing. Cold Steel Mastery. The only thing harder than steel is Cold Steel. 6% more physical damage and 18% more ice damage. This one I would think about putting more points into for the physical. but my ice damage is only really coming from this tree, and I don't know how many of these I want. You imbue your weapons with electrical energy. Power can cause lightning bolt to arc toward nearby targets. I'm kind of casting chain lightning when I use this ability. It's pretty good. I'll show it off in a second. 52% of weapon damage is electrical damage. 50% chance to cast lightning from the target, and it can chain up to 3 times. Alright. That's where all my points have gone into. Stormclaw. Not that I'm complaining, that's a really good one. Same with the Shadow Burst. Transform into Spectral Wolf and lunge through enemies, damaging them even as you heal your own body. Another healing ability, that's one of... Protective abilities are the Berserker's weakness. So getting a lot of health back is her predominant way of surviving, really. Anyways, Shred Armor, your inner savagery rips into enemies' armor, leaving them more vulnerable with each hit, while at the same time stealing some of their armor for yourself. This one I should be putting more points into also, to increase that physical armor buff. Wolfshade. Summon a Wolfshade ally to sink its icy fangs into your enemies, and heal you with their life force. Again, a lifesteal ability. Again, really good. So, as you can see down here, I've got a couple of spells on my bar. Just, help things out. But, get into it. Let's find an enemy. Where is... I think I want to keep Shadow Burst, but I want to swap out... Where'd you go? Alright, well that's a problem. Oh, right, because I don't have any points into it, I put it... Right, and I can't put it on my bar here, right. The default is that the very first skill in the game you get is the first skill in the first tree. But I went back to town and I respect to get that point back because I don't like this ability that much. Or I didn't when I was playing. It's been a while, I might have changed my mind since then. But I put it somewhere else, but it stays on the right click because that's where it defaults to. And I just haven't put another ability there. Right, I haven't touched the Berserker in a long time. She's far, far too squishy for me. I mean, I know that's a silly thing to say considering that I'm playing an Embermage as my main. Okay, so, where was I? I lost my train of thought after listening to that guy. Yeah, calling the Berserker squishy, it's just... Her whole idea is to get into melee range and attack enemies, and I die constantly. Obviously, I need to upgrade my life-stealing abilities in order to last longer, to have better survivability, but yeah, it's a real problem for me when I dive into a group of enemies only to get slaughtered 2 or 3 times for the same pack. Makes things kind of aggravating. So I don't really play the Berserker as much. Then again, I've never been big on melee DPS. Anybody who's watched this channel for any length of time knows that. I'm either a ranged DPS or a healer or a tank in the rare times when being a tank lines up with my playstyle. Zarya. Zarya! Alright, so let's show off Whirlwind, one of the spells I have, and Retaliation, one of the other spells I have. And the Wolf. And I'm already out of mana. Wow. I'm already out of mana, and then I'm already out of life. Alright, let's spend the money to come back here. Shoot! So yeah, you've already seen how good I am with the Berserker. Fantastic. Let's try... You know what? Let's go back there and get our revenge. Let's try not to be dumb about it, though. I'm going to switch over to my cannon. Where were they? Over here? So the cannon, if I'm using... Oh, wait. Was that a... No, that is a very slow-firing, short-range attack, but it does hit groups of enemies. So, it's not bad. It's just not something... It's really not something to use. I don't know why I kept it around. If I'm going to be this close to the enemy, I might as well be using my claws. Just get in there and swipe at him. Whoop, hey. Hey, okay. Exit. Exit. I gotta talk to him. Pants? No thanks. This is weaker. You know what? I'll take the crossbow. It's a better ranged weapon than what I'm using. But first, a little revenge. Let's summon up the Wolfman, activate Retaliation, and try this again. Now that I've got this uppercut, I didn't have this the last time I ran into a tough group of enemies who killed me over and over again. So, you know, that was better this time. Very well done. Alright, let's open up our inventory and send our pet back. You can take that. You can take anything that's not enchanted or weaker than what we're using. Well, here's a couple of rings for my Outlander. Why don't... Cloven Hoof. That'll increase my cast speed. But I'm already using one. Yeah, let's send... I really don't need a shield. Not with this character. Oh! It's not as good. It's not as good. I could sell that. I'll send that away. I'll send that away. I'll send that away. I'll send... Ooh. Yeah, I'll send that away. That's 6... That plus 6 to strength I'll keep around. Two-handed maul. Send it away. Be gone from my sight. Leave. Yeah, I'll send that away. Alright, pet. Off you go.
Your pet has departed.
Let's see. I want to get into another fight. Nah, that doesn't count. Let's see how good I can do without my pet. Hint. It will be terrible. I saw an enemy over here somewhere. There they are. Hi, guys. Alright, let's get our wolf. Come on. Oh, I'm pushing the wrong buttons. Let's get our wolf out. Let's get the whirlwind going. There we go. Well, fantastic. My attack speed's great, though. I mean, for the Berserker, you want a massive attack speed. It makes sense. Activate the lightning bolts. Ooh, I need to get my wolf back out. Come on. Wolfie. Oh, it's on cooldown. Oh, no. I'm out of mana. Great. Wasn't there one? Yes, there he is. Bye-bye. Look at that crit damage. That is fantastic. As my crit chance goes up, and as I buff my strength stat, my crit chance, my crit damage just goes through the roof. It's a very useful build. I mean, not one I can rely on right now, mostly because, mana again. Mostly because my crit chance isn't high enough to rely on it, but when it gets to that point where I can reliably crit, then I will be a beast. Look at that. Crit, 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 crit. Oh, very nice. Very nice. How much longer till level up? Not really close enough to grind one out and show you. So let's head back to the town then. and we'll go through the rest of her skills. Alright. Do I want to put things in the stash? Yeah, I do. That away, we'll put that away. Those two. I should identify these, actually. It might be better than what I'm wearing. Need to sell that. 95 damage. Shotgun. No, shotguns are almost as bad as cannons. They fire a little bit faster, and that's about it. Okay. Alright. So we have a ranged weapon now in case I need to poke at an enemy. Alright, skills. So we've seen Eviscerate, right? I don't have any skill points into it, and I don't intend to because I don't like it that much. At least when I started playing. Now that I've got some better gear, it might be good. But anyways. Howl in Fury, filling nearby foes with terror. Affected foes are slowed and become less able to defend themselves. This one I would pick up, because I dive into melee, and then I activate this, and everything around me attacks slower and takes more damage. Raise, we've covered already. Wolf Strike, you lunge forward in a 6-meter dash, claws slashing, rending all foes in your path. But wait a minute, don't I already have a dash attack? Yes, I do. Heals 7% of your health. This is why I picked this one over the other one. Inflicts less weapon damage, but breaks shields. This one just does knockback and stun, which, I mean, stun would be useful. But look at this, the lunge distance increases. I don't care about that. I would much prefer the one I have points into. Battle Rage, you enter in a rage state, during which your damage is amplified. All damage for each monster within 4 meters. When I get to level 28, that's the one I'm picking. Definitely. Activate it before you get into a fight. Oh, yeah. Not really good against bosses, because usually bosses, you're going up against one big guy. So it's 3% all damage for one monster within 4 meters. Yeah. Rupture. You knock a single enemy back. After a brief delay, the target explodes. This one sounds like excellent crowd control. I want to see it in action. I'd put a point into it just to see how it works. How far do I knock them back? How big is the explosion? How long is the delay before they explode? That kind of thing. Is it easy to is it easy to use, or is it difficult to line things up for your benefit? Ravage. You execute a brutal series of slashes, inflicting 3 strikes on all foes within 4 meters. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. If it's anything like Signy's ability in Regalia, yes. You are immune to knockback and slowing effects while casting Ravage. Yes, please. Alright, so what about passives? For Executioner, your ferocity in combat enables you to more frequently strike with 2 weapons at once. When you successfully execute, you gain charge more quickly. A plus 2% chance to execute. Execute's over here. My focus is so low, my execute chance is only 10.8%. I could put 1 point into it just to get it up to 11% chance. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? It's 10% chance, 10.8% chance is perfectly fine. Perfectly fine, especially if I have an Executioner passive. So, I'll just stick with the passive. Rampage. Each enemy you kill with a melee weapon has a chance of spurring you into an adrenaline-fueled rampage. Yes. Faster attack speed, cast speed, and movement speed. I would put my points into this when I get the chance. Yes. Please. Alright, what about you? Frost Breath. You channel the frigid north winds to unleash a blast of icy breath, which immobilizes enemies, makes them more susceptible to damage. Why do I not have points into this? Yeah, I don't have points into this because I was prioritizing Stormclaw, but this sounds fantastic. Oh, except that it only inflicts 15% of weapon damage. It is a low damage ability. Well, look at that. 20% chance to freeze at level 1? Why would you not take this? This is almost better than... Where did it go? Howl. There it is. All damage taken increased by 15. All damage taken increased by 20%. Yeah. In this case, it's really a toss-up. What do you want? This one only hit... Okay, I see. This one hits in a cone at 90-degree angles. This one reaches out 5 meters. Alright, I see. I see. One's easier to use on a group of enemies. Storm Hatchet. You draw Wild Northern Lightning out of your weapon to create an electrical throwing axe with a range of 15 meters. See? She's got a ranged attack. Like I said with the Outlander, Engineers and Berserkers have ranged abilities, it's just not their primary focus. This is probably something I wouldn't use. I would just shoot with my regular ranged weapon, get enemies' attention, and then destroy them in melee. Northern Rage. Unleash an Arctic blast from deep inside you, throwing out shards of ice to knock back and freeze. It only inflicts 20% of weapon DPS, but it has a chance to freeze and break enemy shields. This is that ability that all of those annoying boss monsters use at this point in the game, where they slam the ground and ice fissures radiate outward. I would pick this one. It's a good AoE ability for melee. Ice Shield. Call forth an Ice Shield, which reflects projectile missiles back at attackers. You also have a chance to gain 10% of your charge bar. Shield lasts for 10 seconds. That's good. This one I would probably pick up. Ranged missile enemies are annoying. Although I do have the lunge. So it's not like they're out of my range for long. I might put a point into this. I might put 1 point into this. It depends. Permafrost. Bone crackling cold of the north expands outward, slowly sapping the life of all foes within 16 meters. Does that get better? No, I don't see... Nope. The tiers don't make that 16 meters any better. I don't know. Tier 1 adds a 25% chance to freeze foes for 6 seconds. That's nice, but I don't know if I would put point... I would test it. This is a let's see how it does ability. Glacial Shatter. The earth is sundered and 5 geysers burst forth at the target location, blinding and damaging foes. Well, that's another ranged ability. This is another one that I would want to see it in action before I commit full time to it. 35% interrupt chance. Yeah, this is one... it's at level 42, though. That's a long way off. By then... I don't know. This one's a maybe for me. When you kill frozen enemies, you blast nearby foes in a 4-meter ring of frost. This one I would definitely pick. This creates an AoE every... well... This creates... does it say... No, it says when you kill frozen enemies. It doesn't say how often you blast nearby foes, whether that's 100% chance or not. It does say 100% chance to immobilize a target, but I think that's if you hit them with it. Still, I mean, anything that creates a damage status inflicting ability when you kill an enemy is a definite 1 point purchase, at the very least. When you are struck by a nearby enemy, your inner rage physically manifests and retaliates against that foe. Damage is equal to 120% of your weapon's DPS. Individual targets can only be hit once per second. Okay, so it's very similar to this ability here. You know what? I would take 1 point into this. Minimum time between attacks, 2 seconds. I wonder if that goes down as you put points into it. Or if the damage equal to 120% goes up as you put points into it. But it's definitely worth one purchase. Anytime an enemy hits you, they take damage. That's not too shabby. Shadow Bind. You bind a group of foes within a 5-meter radius of your target location. All of your subsequent melee attacks transfer a percentage of damage to all shadow-bound targets. Wow! I'm definitely putting a point into that. So it binds your enemies, and then any damage you're doing transfers a percentage to every enemy affected by this ability. And the radius increases as you put points into it. Definitely putting a point into that. Anything that helps you kill enemies faster. Alright, Savage Rush. The Shadow Wolf spirit overtakes you. While the skill remains active, you dash continuously. I don't know. I'm perfectly happy with Shadow Burst. Even though that costs you... Well, it's costing me 12 mana per use, but mana cost 12 per second. It's a nice way to keep you from being stationary in case enemies are, like, surrounding you, but I have Shadow Burst. Why would I want Shadow Rush? I don't know. Chain Snare. Spear all enemies within 6 meters. Draw them swiftly into melee range. A nice one, but again, I have Shadow Burst. Why do I need this? I don't. Battle Standard. The ancient standard of your tribe imbues you and your allies with increased evasion, resistance to knockback, and increased charge gain while within its 9-meter influence. And at Tier 2, the influence range increases to 15 meters. That is definitely something I would pick up. Jump into melee with Shadow Burst, drop this, and profit, pretty much. Wolf Pack. Unleash a pack of 5 spectral wolves that spread out and attack enemies around you. Does that stack with this? Can I cast both? Wow. She's got a nice minion creating thing also. Yes, please. This one I would definitely pick up. Anything that adds more damage on your side of the board and more bodies, I would definitely take. Your feral nature grows more powerful, harder to suppress, increasing the duration of your frenzy state. Oh, so it makes this last longer. Why don't I have a point into that? Oh, man. Why don't I have a point into that? Next level up. Frenzy Mastery. 1 more point. Mostly because things die much too fast. By the time my frenzy bar maxes out, I've killed everything nearby. Yeah, I don't know. That's good, but with how fast things die, maybe later levels it'll be useful. Things live longer. Whenever you inflict a critical hit, up to 2 neighboring enemies may be savaged. Ooh. And as my crit chance goes up, I will inflict critical hits more often. Yes, please. I will take 1. Thank you. Alright, so that's the Berserker. Let's move on to the Engineer. I'll see you then. Hello, everyone. We're back with the Engineer. Now, the Engineer is level 20, as you can see. My Outlander and my Berserker were both level 15, so she's got 5 extra skill points on them. Not that that's a big deal, but just so we're all aware of what she's working with. Now, the Engineer I consider to be more of a tanky class. You can definitely build her with a 2-handed weapon, which you can see I've gone with. Actually, did I go with? No, I went with a ranged weapon. Smart move, but I don't have the shield build that you can possibly do with the character. At level 1, you get this ability. Your weapon crushes foes it strikes, creating 4 flaming splinters that seek out enemies. This one's really nice. This is a level 1 ability I'm quite happy to continue leveling. And you can see I have done it. It's already reached tier 2. Heavy lifting, your skill with giant weaponry allows you to attack faster and adds a chance to stun. Requires a great axe, great hammer, great sword, polearm, or cannon. Basically any two-handed weaponry. Supercharge. When you hit foes with a melee weapon, you have a chance to direct excess energy into your weapon and then discharge it. While supercharged, you gain additional charge. So, supercharged surges do 30% of weapon damage, which is nice when I'm using a giant two-handed weapon. 30% of weapon damage is nothing to sneeze at. Let's see, before I go on, let's look at what charge does on the engineer. Damaging enemies if charges are available. So unlike the Berserker and the Outlander, there's not a bar to fill. You get little pips here that you fill up, that you spend. So let's see. Certain skills, like Flame Hammer, will consume a charge. Significantly increase power. Some skills consume all available charges. Unlike the Berserker or the Outlander, you're not filling a bar and getting some kind of bonus. You have to manage how many of these you have available. It's not difficult, but it's something you have to keep in mind, pay attention to, while you're playing as the engineer. Alright. Healing bot. You deploy a small drone that generates energy pulses, healing both you and your allies. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Where is he on my bar here? 6? I'm going to move you down. Fantastic. Okay. So this little guy will stick around, and every time you see... Hold on. Come on. Do that pulse again. There we are. Anytime you see that pulse, you're being affected by his healing and mana recovery. Energy Pulse also, because he's a tier 2 skill, Energy Pulse also regenerates mana. It's really nice. Really nice. I love this little guy. I love this whole thing except for Blast Cannon, but we'll get to that. Spider Mines. You deploy a trio of spider drones that charge the nearest foe and explode. Upgraded mines do 20% more damage with a 5-meter radius. And you can see here, 5% chance for an upgraded mine explosion. That's so every time you cast it, you have a % chance for the mine to be upgraded. And because he's only level 1, look at this. He's only level 1. Holy crap. Next rank, he gets a 10% chance for an upgrade. I definitely need to put a point into that. 10% is so much better than 5, obviously. I mean, the number's bigger. Of course it's better. Bulwark, your expertise with armor lets you get the most out of it, increasing its effectiveness, reducing any damage that actually gets through. Your physical armor goes up, damage taken goes down. Can't argue with that. Charge Domination. When you slay an enemy, you have a chance to absorb enough energy to fill your charge bar. This ability cannot trigger more than once every 3 seconds. So, it's pretty small. It's a pretty small chance, though. 3% to get a full charge at rank 1. 3.5. If it keeps up with the 0.5 each rank, I would only put 4 points into it. That's just me, though. Skill points, you've got plenty of other stuff you want to spend on. But still, 3% is better than 0%, right? Yeah. Yes, it is. The answer is yes, it is. Now, the Aegis skill tree deals a lot with being a tank with using a shield. You can see down here Sword and Board and Shield Bash as the first skill in this tree. This is not something I focus on heavily, but I did pick up Overload because it's an AoE. You'll overload your armor circuits to project a nova of energy, electrocuting up to 5 foes in a 6-meter radius. Overload uses all available charges. This is a capstone skill, definitely. Wait until all of these bars on the bottom here are filled up and then activate this. Tier bonus goes up too. Up to 7 foes in an 8-meter radius are electrocuted. then 9, then 11. And the radius goes up. I mean, hard to argue with. It's a good skill when you're surrounded. Aegis of Fate, my passive. When foes attack you, your armor has a chance to generate a defensive bubble around you that prevents further damage. It's only a 2% chance, but again, that's more than a 0% chance. And it goes up by 8% each time. I would definitely put points into this. And then charge Reconstitution. When you use a charge, you regain some of your health. This one's fantastic. You're going to be spending charge. Why not gain health back? I'm going to move Spider Mines, I'm going to move Healing Bot, and I'm going to move Retribution. And then we'll put Overload there. Okay, you already know what Retribution does. You saw it on my Berserker. Okay, ready? Actually, I want to check my spell inventory. I do. Learn Elemental Overload 2. Summon Archers. Well, I can't argue with that. I'm going to summon Archers. Let's see. I will put them here. Now, do I want to learn this? Elemental Overload. I think actually Elemental Overload I want to give to the Embermage. I think it would be better for the Embermage. Okay. Alright. So let's get into a fight, and I can show you what's what here. So this is my basic strike. I'm actually attacking faster than, let's say, a Berserker or a Embermage would, because of my passive abilities. There's my hammer attack skill. I forget what it's called already. Don't judge me. Flame hammer. Thank you. Yep, let's throw out the spider mines. Let's actually summon some archers over here to help. The blood monkey. I can't see. Alright, he's got a little light around him. Where'd he go? Come here. Who are you? Where'd you guys come from? Alright, I'm gonna use Overload. There we go. Come here, blood monkey. Come here. Come here. There we go. You ain't nothing. I do have a Vile Gnasher I need to get rid of, though. Come on! Is my little bot still active? Yes, I saw the pulse. He's still alive. Oh, I don't have enough mana? Well, then let me use a mana potion to get enough mana. Man, another boss already? Throw out some spider mines. Now, you can see the problem here is that I focused a lot of my skills on, my skill points on a few skills, meaning I don't have a whole lot of options here other than Flame Hammer, Spider Mine, and whatever spells I've picked up. I actually should activate Retaliation. He's hitting me a lot. I want to have him take damage for it. I should have activated it sooner, actually. Getting hit in the face is what I do. Having enemies take damage back for it is not a bad thing. Come on, spider mines. There we go. Down you go. So, yeah, in the case of this engineer, I should actually have more points in other things. I don't know. That's my poor build here. I mean, I have a few good skills, but I don't really have an answer for a bunch of different situations. That boss monster, for example, I was basically just hitting him until I had enough charge to use my flame hammer. That's not good. That's not useful. That's not helpful. I need big damage attacks to slam in their face. And I'm out of mana. Great. Not enough mana. Ew. What I need is for my little bot to generate mana faster. That's what I need. I need those pulses to come more frequently. Oh, these little... Oh, right. I forgot. These things generate little slime babies when they die. Alright. How are we doing? I've got to keep that in mind when I go back to town. Put that in the box. Come on. There we go. Fantastic. Oh, and little slime babies. I always forget. Throw out my spider mines. Thank you. Little Sergeant Hammer action going on. Throw out my spider mines. Fantastic. Alright, you know what? You've seen her in action. I've kicked some butt, I think. I hope. Let's go back and I'll show you her other skills. Besides, the episode's getting a little long in the tooth, and she's pretty straightforward, actually. Hi there. I remember you. I found you out in the wilderness. You're so cute. You know what? I'm going to enchant this weapon. I love this weapon. Added new enchantments. What did I get? Bonus to crit damage. Thank you. You're so cute. You're so helpful. Let's see. Haste. Movement speed, attack speed. Ooh, that... The Berserker could really use it, but the Berserker already has so much good attack speed and movement speed increases. I'm going to take this for myself. And I'm going to put that in. Alright. Alright, skills. Well, actually, let me show you... Where is it? There it is. So, of course, I'm building her with strength. Weapon damage is hugely important. Vitality for the engineer is most important because of the armor bonus. Well, not most, but out of all the character classes, the most important because of the armor bonus. As the engineer, you're going to have more, better, stronger, higher armor. Focus, I don't know why I've put as many points into focus as I have. That execute chance and that magic damage just isn't as good for her. Seriously, the Berserker should have a higher focus than she does. I've made a mistake there. I freely admit it. Crit chance, dodge chance, fumble, recovery, kinda low for her. Kinda really low for her. But that's okay. I'm not too worried about that for her. Alright. Skills. Thank you. Let's start over here at Blitz. So we have the Flame Hammer, you've all seen it. Seismic Slam, I actually should put points into this. Your mechanically assisted stomp stuns and burns all enemies in a 4-meter radius around you. This will not consume all of my charge like Overload will, and it'll stun enemies. I don't know why I'm not using this. The radius increases, damage increases, I think stun chance increases too, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know why I'm not using this, but I'm not. It's really dumb of me not to use it. Ember Hammer. You deliver a powerful sidelong swing, channels Ember energy into a wide arc, and destroys shields. Ember Hammer does not gain charge. It doesn't consume charge either, but it doesn't gain charge. Except until you hit Tier 1. As you can see, damage is amplified by 5% for every charge you have. What's the max on that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times 5. Damage is amplified by 10% for every charge, if you make it to Tier 2. Honestly, I don't know about this one. I don't know. I mean, I'm already hitting things in an AoE if I'm using Overload and this and some of the other skills that come later. I don't know about this. It's nice because the damage can really ramp up when you're at max charge. Just keep using this, since it doesn't use charge, but it gains benefits from charge. Anyways, Onslaught. You leap forward, slamming your melee weapon into the ground. Foes at the point of impact are damaged and slowed significantly. Onslaught gains half of normal charge. This one's also good. It's an opener. Dive into a group of enemies and start wailing away. Tier bonus is kind of meh, though. As you can see, mana cost reduction. Boo! Oh, that's not great. A 1-point wonder, really, if you're gonna pick it. Ember Reach. Focused surge of energy draws a foe into striking range. You gain a 20% chance to stun for 3 seconds for every charge you have, but the skill itself neither gains nor expends. Oh, well, hey, it's like a hook shot. Grab an enemy, pull him into range. Useful for those pesky enemies that like to run from you. Also, you gain a chance to stun for every charge you have. If you've got maximum charge, you'll be stunning up the wazoo. I'm happy for that. I might actually take that. Stormburst. A blast from your pack rockets you swiftly forward, knocking back foes. This is another opener, it looks like. So it just depends on what you want to do. Do you want to inflict what looks to be a little more damage? Or do you want to inflict status ailments on your enemies? Attack speed reduction, movement speed reduction, cast speed reduction. Emberquake. A huge overhand smash sends out 8 radiating magma fissures to seek and destroy. I would take this one. Oh yes. Fire damage increases by 60% at tier 3. I would take this. 20% chance to burn. Ooh, I didn't see that. Inflicts 35% of weapon DPS. That's pretty low. But then again, at level 42, with a two-handed weapon, it's not an insignificant amount of weapon DPS. And the final passive I haven't actually used yet. When you hit a stunned target, an electrical surge helps finish the foe off. This ability cannot trigger more than 1 time per second. The damage that happens is equal to 3 times your strength. Wow! Well, I don't know. 201 electrical damage is not all that much. However, as you go through the game and your strength increases, and you pump this skill up, I wonder if the damage is equal to a higher amount every time you put a skill point into it. I don't know. I've never put a skill point into this beyond first level. That might be worth it, though. I mean, it's extra damage that you're doing each attack. Alright. So, Blast Cannon. You fire a long-range piercing projectile from your cannon. At higher ranks, the blast leaves foes more susceptible to further fire. Okay, so this is a good opener if you want to use a lot of fire and physical damage, which I intend to do. Plus, you blind your foes, so blind's great. They can't hit you as well, mitigating the damage done to you. Why wouldn't you pick this? Well, I guess if you're not big on ranged weapon attacks, but I mean, it's a ranged weapon attack. Not bad. Gunbot. This is what I'm saving my points for. Level 21. You deploy a small drone that assaults your enemies with a hail of gunfire, firing 5 rounds per second. Each rank increases the bot's damage potential. Unfortunately, unlike your healing bot, it does have a duration before it goes away. But still, the more points you put into it, the more damage it does. I'm also assuming the longer it stays out. Firing range double, summoning cooldown reduced by each tier. Look at that. Summoning cooldown reduced. That's fantastic. Shock grenade. Lava grenade. Shocks and stuns enemies. Consumes 1 charge for 2 additional grenades. I'm okay with that. Look at that. Shock chance, stun chance, interrupt chance. Radius grows to 5 meters. Stun time increases to 5 seconds. I'm okay with this skill. Yes, please. I think I would choose this over the blast cannon, honestly. Fusillade. You unleash a continuous barrage of long-range homing rockets. Bursts of 2 rockets keep firing as long as the mouse button is held down. This is your rapid-fire channeled ability. Awesome. Awesome. 3 rockets are released per burst at tier 1. I think that's as far as I would go with the Fusillade, honestly. Is just tier 1. Depending on how the damage scales. At level 1, it only does 30% of weapon DPS. If it's like at rank 2, 31% of weapon DPS? No thanks. No thanks. And finally, Siege Bot. Oh, Sledge. My mistake. That says Sledge. You construct a powerful Sledge Bot to pulverize your foes. 30-second summon duration. That's even less than the Gun Bot. What? But you do gain a sweep attack, a smash attack, and a rocket attack. Well, the cooldown's only 1.5 minutes. But that 30-second summon duration just grates me the wrong way. This ability, as awesome as it sounds, is probably one that's a test it with one skill, see how it works out, and then either respec or keep going into it. Alright, passive here, Fire and Spark. Extra fire damage, extra electrical damage. I don't know why I'm not putting points into this one. I think I'm building her to be more defensive. That's why I put points into this and this. But this is definitely something I would put points into. Increase how much damage you're doing. As a passive. I mean, come on. Why wouldn't you do that? So then we have the Aegis skill tree. You smash enemies in front of you, stunning them, slowing their attacks, knocking them back. Damage is equal to 5 times your shield's armor value. So you need a shield to use this, and I'm not using a shield, so I skipped over it. Still, it's not bad. It's just not something I'm using. Your armor projects Ember energy, creating a force field, and a half-strength force field around allies. Once the field absorbs its maximum amount, it dissipates. Force fields use all available charges. Well, that's great. I don't know. I mean, I'm already using all available charges for Overload, but I mean, it's protection. It's protection. Why wouldn't you use it? It's really a toss-up. It's up to you. I wouldn't use it, but in a group setting, it might be nice. I mean, if you're playing with 3 other people, go for it, man. They'd thank you for that extra protection, especially the Embermage and the Berserker, I'm sure. Dynamo Field. Tap into your armor's energy to project an electrical burst. This electrical surge generates charge for each enemy that is struck. This one I would pick. Along with Overload, yes, please. AoE damage, that's where it's at. The more you can do, the faster you can do it. Tremor. Discharging the energy from your suit into the earth causes a massive shockwave. Tremor only does the listed damage when it uses 1 charge. So you could use it with 0 charges, and it would do nothing, is what I'm reading here. Another AoE, but you have to be careful with your charge. It doesn't consume charge. You just have to have charge to use it. I don't know. Interrupt chance. Well, that's nice. But then we're talking about Seismic Slam here. Which one do you want to use? Alright. Fire Bash. Channel a potent, not potent. You channel a potent blast of energy through your shield. Damage is derived from your shield's armor value. So the better your shield, the better the damage, obviously. Well, I say obviously, but that's how you should read it. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not using a shield, so yeah. Immobilization Copter. You deploy an immobilization drone, which slows enemies. A maximum of 3 targets may be affected at once. This I would pick. It doesn't have a duration, and it's useful, and it's a little guy that flies around your head, affecting your enemies. A maximum of 5 targets at tier 1? Yes. So, by level 42, if I put a point into this, I'd have these guys, this guy. I don't know about you. And then this guy. I'd be my own minion master. Fantastic. Your skill with a shield goes beyond defense and straight to offense, adding some of your shield's armor value directly to your melee attacks. 20% of shield armor added to melee attacks. I would take this in a heartbeat if I was using a shield. Why wouldn't you? Alright. That is these 3 classes. Outlander, Berserker, Engineer. Thank you everyone for joining me. I hope this was enlightening and entertaining. Should be both. If it's going to be one or the other, it should be entertaining over enlightening. I will catch you all next time on Games with Dialogue. Until then, stay safe and God bless.